Hello everyone and welcome to the Thaco Gamers. I recently picked up a Rampage Arcade1up machine and I've had some time to play it and mess around with it a little bit, and this is my review coming up. First thing I want to talk about was the screen. The size of the screen is just right. It is a little low, even with the extension box that you can get to put underneath the machine. The screen itself is still a little low. It's completely playable. There's not a problem with that, but you might have to crouch a little bit. The colors replicate nicely. The LED display looks really, really good, and there's no delay in any of the controller inputs or anything like that on the screen. So I'm very happy with it overall. As far as the cabinet goes, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of like cheap furniture. I don't recommend disassembly and reassembly or moving or anything like that at all. It probably also won't react favorably to any kind of spilled drinks or water or anything like that, so be very careful with it. When you first set it up, it looks very nice, and I'm very pleased with it, and I think that it'll last quite a while if it's not being moved around and is being treated with respect. As far as the size of the overall machine, this is a three-quarter size of an actual arcade machine, and it's smaller than I thought it would be, so it's probably smaller than what you would expect. If you're 6 feet tall, I mentioned I'm 6 feet, and I mentioned earlier that the screen is a little bit lower than I would have liked. I have to hunch over a little bit to play it. Multiplayer games also can be very cumbersome because it's 3/4 the width as well. So because of that, you can get shoulder to shoulder, especially with Rampage. It's hard to fit 3 full-size adults in there to play. Only 2 really can play comfortably on that. 3 just really isn't very doable. I ended up actually putting a bar stool that I had at the machine and sit at that to play. That's just a little bit more comfortable than standing at the machine. As far as the controls go, like the cabinet, the controls are a little bit cheaper. I don't recommend abusing them. During normal use, though, they operate totally fine. I've had no problems with it. They do feel a little weak, but I haven't had any issues, and my wife and my kids have all played, and they haven't had any issues either. Really, the only issue that my kids have are just not understanding how Rampage works and how to crawl up the side of a building. Evidently, the game is too complicated for my 10-year-old. I did have a little bit of an issue with the machine when I got it, which I stated in my original video, and that is that the control cabinet, it looked like there was a little bit of like swelling, like it got a little bit of wet and the wood expanded a little bit and it was splitting. I wrote Arcade1up, and I did want to say I want to give them props. They sent me a completely new control panel. I haven't received it yet. Once I get that, I will put a video up with the condition of that and how all that looks. As far as the games go, they're pretty good. Rampage, if you've ever played that before, it plays exactly like it did in the arcade. The sound is good. The game is good. It's a lot of fun. My kids and I sat and have played many, many hours on that already, tearing through the U.S., destroying buildings. It's a good game. The controls are exactly the same, and there's no problems with that at all. Next, there's Gauntlet. Gauntlet is exactly what you remembered Gauntlet to be. Other people have said that they've had an issue with the game glitching out at level 30 and just scrolling, like endlessly scrolling. I actually haven't gotten to that point yet. I played with my daughter and we got to probably about 25, but we never continued past that. I will continue to play it, and if I do have any issues, I'll report. I do know that people that have said they've had an issue, the Arcade1up, if you just email them, and from my own experience from other things, they're really good about responding and hooking you up and getting what they need to get to you to fix those issues. So next I want to talk about Joust. This is one of my favorite games from my childhood, mainly because I remember playing this as a kid and really being blown away by the flight physics in this game. Anyone that's played Joust, there's only one button and the control stick works, the button works, you flap around and you joust into these other ostrich things and look out for the pterodactyl, but plays the same. It's totally great. I have no problems with it. Now, there is one game on here that I have huge issues with, and I have no idea what in the hell Arcade1up was thinking when they did this, because it's totally unplayable, and that's Defender. If you look at the control scheme here, the buttons are all over the place. Your thrust is used by the same hand that controls your ship up and down. So you're with your left hand steering and your right hand, if you want to use thrust, you can't shoot because your shooting button is all the way on the other side of the controller panel using the player 3 controls. The only way to kind of get around that is to use your left hand to control the up and down with the joystick, and use your left hand to also do thrust while you shoot with your right hand. It's totally ridiculous, completely unplayable. And if you liked Defender, don't buy this machine because it's the worst control scheme I've ever seen ever in a game. It's bad. It's bad. So my overall opinion of this Rampage machine from Arcade1up is that this thing would not last a month in an arcade. If it was in an arcade, the kids would have destroyed it. It would have exploded. All the wood would have fallen off. The controls would be busted in half and everything else. It would not last. Now, this is a $299 machine. The arcade machines are a few $1,000s. So for the price, it's definitely worth it. If you are a middle-aged man like myself with kids that now can buy things that he's always wanted as a kid, this is the perfect thing. It really is. If it's treated with respect and you're not smashing things all over it or resting your drinks on it or anything like that, and you just want to have a neat piece of furniture decoration that has Rampage and Joust on it, and you can bring friends over and play with your kids, it's going to be fine. And Arcade1up has been really good about, with a lot of people that have had issues with it, with replacing stuff. It is a cheaper piece of furniture, I'm not going to lie, but I'm totally happy with it, and I'm going to continue to get more of these because I want to have my own arcade. So thanks for joining me on the Thaco Gamers, and I'll see you guys later. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, it'd probably be here. Don't forget to subscribe and watch another video. Something like that. See ya.